Hello everyone, it's Colleen with YarnWars, and today I am working on the baby's first MaryJane booties. I've had several requests to work the next size up. In the first video that you may have seen, I did a tutorial for the size 0 to 3 months. Now this is the baby. Here, this is a pattern. I've just printed out the pattern and I'm literally going to follow this. It's been a little bit since I've made one, but I originally made it for a new niece that came into the family. But this time I'm going to be making a video on the size 6 to 9 months because that's also a size that a lot of people will be working in this. You're able to download the PDF from the Facebook group, and that link should pop up in the bottom of the screen, but I'll also have that in the description, and then you can just follow the pattern on the YarnWars.com website. You can either go in and just do a search for MaryJane's, it will pull that up, or I will also have a link in the description for that. So let's get started with this, and I'm going to do my best not to do a lot of talking, and somebody's probably going to get a little upset with me, I'm sure, in my comments for the type of yarn I'm using for this. Not the type of yarn. I'm using a Red Heart Super Saver yarn. I just don't know what the color is for this. This is hiding away in my little bag of yarn, box of yarn, tub of yarn, and I absolutely love this color. So many pretty colors in this. I love it, but I really have nothing to use it for right now. So I'm going to use it for the booties today, and we're going to go ahead and get started now. We're going to start this pattern. Like I said, this is for the 6 to 9 month. We are going to start this with first our slip knot. And with a slip knot, I always just kind of go around in the front. I come up in the back, and I just pull that yarn. You could either pull it through with your fingers or you could pull it through with your hook. So on this one, I say that you're going to want to use a G hook for this. And really, you're going to find, because some of this is measuring too, and I do show you that in the pattern, in the written pattern, so what you're going to be looking for on the size end. So if you're finding that you are crocheting pretty tight stitches, then you will want to make your adjustments as necessary, and sometimes that will work well by just changing your hook size. So, because sometimes it's hard to change the tension in how you're working your projects. So we're going to start by chaining 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Now we are going to go into the second chain from the hook here. So we've got our first chain there and our second chain here, and we are going to work 2 single crochets into that second chain. Now for this project, you can use a stitch mark or a stitch marker if you like, but it is not necessary. Well, it just really depends. Sometimes it's just really helpful to some people. So we've made our 2 single crochets into our second chain from the hook, and now we're going to work 1 single crochet into the next 6 chains here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Next, we are going to work a half double crochet into the next two chains. And everybody, I'm sure, knows what a half double crochet is. You're going to yarn around your hook, yarn over your hook, go into that chain, pull through, and you're going to pull through all three. Now, I do suggest if you're a little tighter, just to kind of relax it up a bit when you're working this project, because it really does, you'll notice when we get into this how too much tension is not a good thing. So we're working 2 half double crochets. Next, we are going to work 7 double crochets into our last chain. So 1, 2, 3, and double crochet is obviously pulling through your yarn and then going through the first 2 and then the next 2. So we've done 4 double crochets into that last chain so far, and we got 5. Make sure I'm going into the correct spot. 6 and 7. All the while I'm working this little tail around into my stitches, because that is the best way to hide it right from the get-go. So as you see, we've worked our 7 double crochets into that last stitch, and you'll end up with that kind of just level with your work and taking you around to the opposite side that we started working on. So next we are going to work backwards what we did before. So we'll work 2 half double crochets, 1 half double crochet into each of the next 2. So there's 1 half double crochet and 2 half double crochets, and then we are going to work single crochets into the next 6 chains, still working over that tail. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking this tail along with me, and I'm going over it when I do a stitch so that it's worked right in there and I don't have to do that at the end. So there's 2 single crochets, 3, 4, 5, and sometimes you need to pull that tail to get it back in line, and 6. So we've got our 6th single crochet, and next we are going to work 2 single crochets into our last chain. I'm going to go ahead and drop my tail now. It's been worked in enough. So this is where we started here, and I'm going to work 2, or maybe I'll go ahead and work that tail into these last 2 and then drop it. Okay. Then we are going to join to that first single crochet that we made right there. All right, so far we have the start of our sole, and I'm going to show you actually one thing that I do, give me just a moment, is a lot of times when I'm not sure about my stitch count with something, or I want to make sure with my stitch count, I will use, you can use a stitch marker of some sort. I personally will just use another piece of yarn because it's so flexible and it doesn't get in my way. So I'm going to go ahead and clip off just a small piece of yarn, even smaller than that really, normally. I'll work with this. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'll show you how I work my stitch marker in to start my new row. So I've dropped my tail, I don't need to work that anymore. And I'm going to put my stitch marker right, let's see, first I'm going to do my chain. For round 2, we're going to work we're going to chain 2. So we're going to go 1 and we're going to go 2. And then I'm going to go ahead and place my stitch marker right after that, chain 2. Okay. This won't be hard at all. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do in round 2 is we're going to work 2 half double crochets into the same as our join space. So you just kind of have to pull your stitch marker back so you can see where your join space is. It's really easy. It's that same space that your chain is in right there. See that? Right in there. So we're going to work 2 half double crochets right into that same join space. Now when I work that first stitch, you will see that it's locking in my stitch marker. It's going to keep that in place there. So I'm working 2 half double crochets right into that first join space, the chain space. So the next step in round 2 in this pattern tells us that we need to half double crochet into each of the next 9 stitches. So we're working 1 half double crochet into each of the next 9. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we've got 9 half double crochets made, and then we're going to work 2 half double crochets into the next 7 stitches. So we are increasing by working 2 half double crochets into the next 7. So we got into that same stitch, we got 2 half double crochets, so that's our first. That's our second. Third. Oops. Fourth. Oh my goodness, I'm losing track of myself here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, and 7. So we have increased in 7 stitches around by working 2 half double crochets into each one. So now the pattern tells us to work 1 half double crochet into each of the next 9 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me get some more yarn here. 7, 8, and 9. Next we're going to work 2. I'm going to show you this, and this was in the first, if you watched the first video tutorial. This is where the chain is coming out of, so this is not a stitch. We're going to work our last 2. We're going to do an increase of 2 half double crochets into this last stitch, and then we're going to join. So we're going to work 1 and 2 into that same stitch, and then we are going to join to the top of the first single crochet. Okay, so let me just show you where we're joining. This is not the stitch, remember. This is where the chain is coming out of. This is the chain, and this is the first single crochet. So we're going to join right over here, and it's going to seem like a little bit of a stretch, but it's all going to work out fine. And now we can take out our stitch marker there and move on. At this point, you're going to have a total of 36 total stitches after your round 2. Okay, so now for round 3 of our shoe, we are going to chain 1, which I've already done right here, and I'm going to go ahead and place my stitch marker after that chain, under the chain there, sorry. And we're going to work two single crochets right into that same space right there. So you're going to work an increase right off the bat in that same space. Okay? So it's going to be that same space immediately following that chain there. Next, we're going to work 1 single crochet in each of the next 14 stitches. So, you go 1, 2, 3. Keep it pretty loose. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so we've got 14 single crochets, and now this is where the fun part comes in. Not really. But now we've got a series of some different things we're going to do here on increases. So we're going to work an increase right into that next stitch, 2 single crochets right into this next one. Oops. 2 single crochets. Then we're working 1 single crochet into the next. Then we're going to work 2 single crochets into the next 2 stitches. So we're going to work 2 increases over the next 2 stitches here. Then we're going to work 1 single crochet in the next, and then 2 single crochets in the next. So we'll increase in this next one here. We are going to now single crochet into the next 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Okay, so we have one more stitch here. We're going to do an increase. We're going to work 2 single crochets into that last stitch, and then we'll join. Remember, this is going to look like a stitch, and we're not using that. It is where it is the same space here that chain is coming off of. So we want to go over to our first single crochet, which is right up here. Oh, sorry, getting out of the view here. The single crochet is right up here, so we're going to work our join right into that first single crochet. And now you have a total of 42 stitches after round 3. So now we're going to go ahead and move. If you need to pause this to continue to finish up here, go ahead and do that. And we will continue on our next one. We will be moving up to the upper shoe pattern. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and move on to our upper shoe pattern. And that will start if you've got the PDF in front of you or the website open. That's going to start with round 1 of our upper shoe pattern. So what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1. Go ahead and place your stitch marker if you need to. I actually, for this one, it's not a bad idea, but not everybody needs that. So just go ahead and place your stitch marker after your chain. Make it real easy for you there. What we're going to do is we're going to do 1 single crochet in the back loop only of each stitch, beginning with our join space. So just the same as we were working for each of our previous rows, right into that first join space, we are going to start with that join space again. But we are working only into that back loop only. So just this part of the loop, not both parts of the stitch. So we are working 1 single crochet. It gets a little quicker once you get the first down, the first few. But we're just going into that back loop of that stitch. Hopefully you can see that okay. Let me make sure I got that focused. There we go. So we're going to do a single crochet into the back loop only. Okay? So we're going to do 1 single crochet. Work 1 single crochet into the back loop of every stitch around, which means that you will have a total of 42 stitches still when you've completed this round. And it's going to look like it's all pulling up there. This all comes together very nicely when you're done. It's not at all going to make for a loose sole, a loose shoe. You don't have to tighten up your project, tighten up your tension to get it to lay right in the end. You'll understand when you get around to the end of this that it's going to be just fine. So we're just going to go around, work 1 single crochet into each back loop only. And this is going to start the upward section to, start moving that shoe up instead of the flat. So just do this all the way around so you're not doing any increases here. And this skein did not allow me to find, I was having a hard time finding the center pull from it, so, and I really didn't feel like winding it in a ball, so let me see if I can get that back on focus here. I realize I have a shadow here, guys, and I do apologize for this. Not the best video today. Let's see if I can get that a little better. But like I said, just continue around, back loop only. While I'm doing this boring part, it's a little bit boring, I would like to thank everybody for, subscribing to my channel and for all the wonderful comments on the baby booties. It's, it's really wonderful to see that so many people are enjoying this pattern, and it's so nice because, it's hard for me to really pick up any kind of a speed while I'm doing this in front of the camera, but when you make a pair, you'll see just how fast this is. It is really a quick shoe to make, and you can make up a pair of them in absolutely no time at all. Just wonderful. All right, so we are coming into the end here, and then we know where we need to stop because we don't want to go into that last one that looks like a stitch but is not a stitch. So we're going to go this one, and then we've got this one here. We will have 42 stitches after this round. Remember, you will not stitch into this one, but we'll come up to this where this purple is. And here's an easy way to figure out where's your first single crochet, because sometimes it gets a little confusing with the chain. But you can see the single crochet is made right here, so that stitch right above it is going to be our first single crochet. We'll go right into that and join. So we have started the upper section of our booty. All right. Moving on to round 2 of our upper shoe pattern. Okay. We're going to go ahead and pull out our stitch marker, and we're going to chain 1 and replace our stitch marker. There's just not a lot of counting in this. I mean, there's not a lot of stitches to count. So, you know, if you're pretty good with keeping track of your stitches, you probably don't need a stitch marker. It gets pretty obvious when you get to the end. I'm doing this for video's sake so I don't mess up on my stitch counts and confuse the whole project. But round 2 of our upper, we're going to chain 1 and we're going to work 1 single crochet in that first join in both loops. Okay, so now we're going to go around 1 single crochet in each stitch around in both loops. The last round we did back loop only. Now we're doing both loops. We're just going to work 1 single crochet in each one around. So go ahead and just work your 1 single crochet. I'm going to meet you on the other end once I finish this part, and we will pick it up from there. So continue with 1 single crochet in each loop around. Okay, so we are coming into the end of round 2 of our upper shoe pattern. So we just have that 1 stitch left to make here because this is not a stitch. So we're going to work our stitch, and then we're going to come up here and grab that first single crochet and join right there. Okay. All right, so as you see, our shoe is coming along quite nicely. There's a little bottom sole of the baby booty. So adorable. Okay, so now we're going to move on to round 3. For round 3, we're going to chain 1. And I'm not going to put a stitch marker in for this one. Round 3, we're going to chain 1 and we're going to single crochet in the next 13 stitches starting with our join space. So work your first single crochet right into the join and 12 more after. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait a moment. More yarn. Nice little stitch marker there. Okay, so we've done 5. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, oops, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So after we've worked our 13, beginning with that join space, we are going to skip 1 stitch. So we're going to skip this next stitch and we're going to work an extended single crochet into our next stitch. So how we do an extended single crochet is we're going to put our hook into that stitch if we can. I'm going to go in there, pull through, and with an extended single crochet you're going to yarn over, pull through the first one, and then yarn over and pull through both. So that's an extended single crochet, and you can pull that a little bit tight to your to your yarn there. Next we are going to repeat this for a total of 7 extended crochets. So we skip the next one and we're going to work another extended single crochet right into this one. So work 1 into there, and then we're going to skip the next one and we'll work another one, and this will be our third extended, and then we're going to skip one and work our next extended single crochet, and then we'll skip the next one and work our next one, and this should be our fifth. Wait, let me see. We worked single crochet. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip the next, work a extended single crochet, and then we'll skip this one and work an extended single crochet. So we have a total of 7 extended single crochets. And after this, we are going to skip the next stitch, work a single crochet into this stitch or into the next 14 stitches. So that was our first of 14. And then we're just going to go right into the next. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. And remember, this next one is not considered a stitch, so we're coming up here to our next. This is our chain right here, our chain 1, and then this is our first single crochet, so we're going to join into that first single crochet. Okay, so that completes round 3 of our upper shoe. So round 4, you can get a little more yarn here. Round 4, we're going to chain 1. We're going to work a single crochet into the next 13 stitches, starting with our join. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, oops, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. All right, so 13 single crochets. Next, we are going to skip one, and we're going to half double crochet into the next. So we're going to skip this, and we're going to half double crochet into this one here. Yarn over and pull through all 3. We're going to repeat that 2 times for a total of 3 half double crochets. So we're going to skip this one, work a half double crochet into the next one, skip this one, and work a half double crochet into the next one. And then we're going to skip our next stitch, and then we are going to single crochet into the next 14 stitches and then join. So we're going to skip this next one, and we're going to work a single crochet into the next stitch. It's going to pull a little bit tight, but that's 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So then you see that next one that looks like it might be a stitch, but it's not, and we are joining right to the top of this one here, our single crochet, our first single crochet in the batch. Okay, So our shoe is forming nicely here. And this is the tail on the inside. You could really clip that off at any time because we've worked that in pretty well. So now we're working round 5. We are going to chain 1. This is actually the last round on this end, and this would be for our right shoe. So we chained 1, and we're going to slip stitch into the next 10 stitches beginning with our chain space. So we're going to go, oops, let me see if I can find my chain space there. Okay, so that's a little tight. We chain 1, and then we're working the chain. You're gonna have to do that carefully. It's not gonna want to go in there. And we're gonna do the first 10 slip stitches. So there's 2, there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So that puts you right about there on your shoe. Okay, so after we slip stitch our first 10, we're going to chain 14 to 16, just depending on maybe what, how tight you're doing your stitches, or for just what you prefer. I'm going to do 14. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You really shouldn't have to do any more than 14. But now what we're going to do is we're going to slip into the 6th chain from the hook. So we're going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we're going to slip. And we're going to slip. Do a slip stitch right into that 6th chain right there. And we've now created our buttonhole. We're going to continue to slip stitch down the shoe or down the strap into each one from there. And then once we get to our end, which we are almost there, oops, okay, we're going to slip stitch right back in to the bottom of this strap into the shoe. So we've slip stitched into that last stitch right there, and you can just come right over to the next stitch in line and slip right in to this to secure your strap on that end. And then you're going to continue working slip stitches around to the end. And it doesn't matter if you twist your shoe around and, conform it to what you need it to be right now, because this goes back very easily into shape. But sometimes you need to kind of work things around a little bit to get it in an easy position for you to finish off your work. So we're just slip stitching around our entire shoe at this point. And then I'm going to show you, this is the nice thing about this shoe, is that both the left and right are made exactly the same, only with the left shoe, you're going to go further on your slip stitches in the beginning to start your strap over on this side so that it's coming over this way. So we've reached the end. This, of course, is not a stitch, so we're going to come in here. And you're just going to finish off, just kind of get that in there the best you can into your chain space. Let me see if I can get that. And it's going to be a little tough getting in there, but you'll get it. and you're going to just pull it through and join it to the beginning of your slip stitches. I always like to go ahead and chain one just to finish off my project because it gives me a better lock-in with everything. Just locks it all in, and you can hide it so that you don't ever see that. Just go ahead and cut yourself a small tail. You don't need to make a big tail for this. We're going to just pull this through and tighten it there. Okay, once we work this down, you won't even see that little bump there. Okay, so what we're going to do is go ahead and shape our shoe. Shape our little booty. It's so cute. Okay, so you're going to work in your tails, and like any project, you're going to have this the final tail that is always no fun, but you got to work it in. And if I can find, there we go, a good needle. I will show you quickly for those of you who are not familiar with working in. Just go ahead and put your little blunt needle in there, and you're just, the best thing to do, I would say, is just find the best place to go in where you can really hide what you're doing. Just kind of go through the other side and pull it through. Go in the direction that your yarn is heading in the first place, so you aren't going to see your end work. But I always like to just at least go, and you don't really need to go a huge distance, long distance with this. This one I'm going to go straight down into my stitches. So you want to go in to those stitches. Make sure you're not going through the other side, that you're going right into the middle. You don't have to see the yarn on the other side to do it. So we're going to go in, pull through our yarn to hide this all in. And you can go as far as you feel comfortable, you know, whatever makes you feel comfortable on hiding your tail to make sure that it is completely hidden. When you get to that end point, then go ahead and snip it off close to your work so that you don't have a piece standing up in there. And like I said, we got this hidden pretty well on our bottom sole, so we're going to go ahead and cut that off. That's pretty well hidden. But now what you're going to do, if you've worked the other booty tutorial, you know the same thing is true for this. You're going to be taking this, and it's your little buttonhole right here. You're going to pull it over to where you see it works perfectly, to where you're going to place your little button or your little embellishment, whatever it is. I've seen so many great workups of these where people put little butterfly fixtures or do little gems or whatever the case. Adorable. So there's so much you can do with this, but place your button wherever you're going to place it, and then go ahead and get that out of the way. Sew your button on, and then voila, you got your little baby booty, and it's so cute. And remember, it's crochet, so you can reform it if it's out of shape, if it's, you know, whatever the case. You got your little baby booty. It's adorable. So like I said, with the left shoe, what you're going to do is you're going to work from the beginning. You're going to do everything the way we did it in the beginning to build up the shoe. But round 5 is going to be the only different round on this. It's the only difference with what you're going to do. You're going to slip stitch, starting with your join space, slip stitch into 21 stitches, bringing you right about here. And then you're going to chain your 14, work into, you know, work a slip stitch into your 6th chain from the hook into each chain, and then come back and finish with the slip stitches. And that's going to allow you to have that strap on that side to pull over this side, and then you're going to place your button over here. So it is literally as simple as that. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and again, this is for the size, this one is size 6 to 9. And just coming in here, I also do have another size now for 12 to 18 month on the website and on the pattern download at the group. So if you want to make a pair even bigger than this, there is one more size up from here. But this is the baby's first shoes, MaryJane Booties. And I hope that you will, if you are not already a member, over at our Facebook group at www.facebook.com/groups/YarnWars. I hope you'll come over and share your own little baby booty mix with us. But thanks so much for joining me today, folks. And hit subscribe if you like this, and plan on seeing more from me in the near future. Have a wonderful day.